All right. Wow. Everybody got quiet. That was good. All right, so we are going to officially get this meeting started. One of the things I forgot to do actually was to send the minutes over, but y'all have all had the time to approve the minutes. Is there any objections to last week's minutes? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with approving the minutes. I entertain a motion to approve last week's minutes. Carried by Senator Vargas, seconded by multiple senators. All in favor of approving last week's minutes, please raise your hand, do a thumbs up emoji, or raise your hand and do a thumbs up. Any opposed, please raise your hand or do a thumbs down emoji. Any abstentions? All right, seeing none, then we will go ahead and move right along to roll call. I'm going to go ahead and read off the senators that have been that did not have any approved absence requests. Aisha Price. Cool. Senator Manning. Senator Barrett. Senator Vargas. Senator Waller has an approved absence request. Senator Rojas. Senator Tran.
Senator Tran is having some Wi-Fi
That's right.
connection issues at campus.
That's right. Senator McCain has an approved absence request. Senator Ocampo. Senator McNamara has an approved absence request. Senator Buchanan has an approved absence request. Senator Scott has an approved absence request. Senator McQuarrie is joining. Senator Kirkby. Senator Gossett. Senator Kai.
Present.
Senator O. Senator Lizama. Senator Carnes. Senator McGinnis has an approved absence request. Senator Holman. Senator Santee has an approved absence request. Senator Reed. Senator King. Senator Uden.
Present.
Senator Minnick.
Present.
Senator McAdams. Senator Govea has an approved absence request. Senator Niet. Did I pronounce that right? Perfect. Senator Harlan. Senator Black. Senator Mattern.
Here.
Senator Khan.
Yes, sir.
Senator Shepherd. Senator Okiki.
Here.
Then I will go ahead and move to open forum. Is anybody here for open forum? Seeing none, we will go ahead and move right along to speaker's podium. We have had the honor of having our provost and our senior vice president for student success come and speak. First up, we have Dr. Mirmoran, who is the provost of our university. He's just going to hopefully provide a few updates on things going on the academic side, and maybe even mention on some of the exciting things that is happening behind the scenes. So, small round of applause.
Thank you so much for inviting me to share some thoughts with you all, senators. I am delighted to tell you that as part of our QEP process, as you all have heard, the quality enhancement plan that we have with real world problem solving, we thought that this would be a good opportunity for us to not just provide real world problem solving opportunities for our students, but let us use this period of affecting our curriculum and actually exposing every one of our programs to what we call real world relevance review. So in other words, we want to make sure that our faculty in every one of our academic programs over the next 5 years, which is our strategic planning process, look at the program and look at real world relevance. Are we training our students with the type of skill sets that they need to have in 21st century? Are we providing the type of community engagement and service learning opportunities that would empower our students to land good jobs and good careers? So as part of that, we thought that this would be actually a good opportunity to see how we would be able to rearrange our programs and introduce new skill sets. And one of the things that we are considering, and actually we just hired Associate Provost Dr. Poonam Kumar from the Lamar University, where she had the same position. She is joining us. And one of the things that she is planning to do is look at every one of our programs together with Dr. Swain. I'm sure you know our Associate Provost for Academic Success and Dean of Undergraduate Studies, to try to see if we can incorporate certificates and micro-credentialing as part of our academic programs. So that if I am an undergraduate student, whether I'm a freshman or I have joined as a transfer student during the time that I graduate from UT Tyler, this includes to some extent graduate programs as well, but it is more critical for undergraduate program. How would we be able to tailor some of our courses to include those type of skill sets that they could benefit, our students could benefit from when they graduate, and then package them in such a way that it would be giving them certain milestones, certain certificates, so that it would not cost the student additional time or additional money in terms of tuition, but rather empowers them that on your resume, when you graduate, you would say, well, I'm not just getting this degree, or I am an engineer or a nurse, but I also have these certificates that would be recognized by the industry that I'm going to work for. So I'm hoping that this would be something that we could do for every one of our academic programs. And in fact, over the next 5 years, we're trying to implement this in almost every one of the undergraduate programs. But to make sure that we are going about this in a positive way and more effective way, we are trying to learn actually from our sister institution, UT Arlington. So in a couple of weeks, we have our senior vice provost from UT Arlington joining our deans to have a and chairs to have a conversation about how they have implemented the micro-credentialing at their institution, and we want to make sure that we do it the right way. And of course, along the way, we want to also check with the students, because you all need to also make sure that you are comfortable with the type of things that we want to provide. In fact, one of the things I'm very proud of is that our students provide a lot of good input for us. In fact, today at the Council of Academic Deans, we were talking about the graduation exit surveys. And I was so proud to see 75% to 77% of our graduates are actually giving the time to, that was both undergraduate and graduate students, giving the time to provide input as part of their exit survey to make sure that we know what works, what doesn't work, how to improve it, because at the end of the day, we're here to serve the needs of our students and make sure that we educate our students in such a way that they would be able to be productive when they go into the industry. So we definitely want to count on your experience, be it real world problem solving as part of QEP, be it the micro-credentialing, and we want to hear from you. And we would make sure that our team would also listen to the comments that you have. In fact, I was just told before coming here by Dr. Swain that she's so pleased with the, and Ashley Bill on the advising academic success with the SGA subcommittee that you have that provides input for advising. And again, this is a dialogue that we want to continue to have and get your help in how we can improve our programs, which ultimately benefits each and every one of you. I'm happy to answer any question that you may have. Yes.
First off, I just want to say I think that'd be really cool to be able to get like credentials and like certifications before we graduate. But my main question is like, would these like certifications and stuff be incorporated into our courses that we pick throughout our degree plan? or would they be like outside of our courses?
Well, just that one part. Take this one off. Yeah. Perfect.
So we would be looking at sometimes packaging a number of courses together as a certificate when especially you have options. So for example, we just launched a new program in this Souls College of Business, MS in data analytics and cybersecurity. So the students would have a core that they would have to take, and then maybe a cybersecurity certificate and a data analytics certificate. So that way they would be able to, when they graduate, they have a certificate in this, certificate in that. So we could package those courses that you're taking those courses anyway, but by having those courses together as part of maybe your electives, you would have a certificate. Then the other thing is that within UT system, they have provided us with opportunities for both Google certificate as well as Coursera. And we have asked our faculty to look at the content of their courses and see, can part of the course be essentially getting a certificate from Google or Coursera? And if that's the case, it would be embedded, the milestone would be embedded as part of that course. So we're open to all of those options because we want to make sure at the end of the day, whether it's a mini certificate or micro credential, or is it a package certificate, we want to provide that to the students.
Hello.
Hello.
So I know that they offer certificates in master's degree programs and different programs here in Souls and other colleges. But also they for undergrad, they allow for if you have internships that you can allow it to count for course credit. If you have certain internships, would they be allowed to count for certain certificates as well?
That's a good point. We haven't actually, I'm going to make a note of it to make sure that those would be sort of a competency-based certificate. And we need to see which programs lend themselves to adopting such a model. But I think that's a good idea. I don't see, especially if we are allowing this to take that as a replacement for a course, that would be part of, in fact, it would align very nicely with service learning. And especially if the student can come back and maybe at the capstone project or capstone design, they reflect on what they have learned, that may work very well. So I'm going to make a note of it and bring it up to our team to see if they can assess that. Just to make sure. So you were saying that if I am doing an internship, when I come back, it's not just a course, but maybe I could get some sort of a certificate that tells the potential employer of in the future what type of things I have. I think that would be a great thing.
I actually have a question. So one of the things that this has to do with implementing the I guess coursework, for example. So I think one of the things that might not be immediately thought about is how are we going to teach the professors and to incorporate this into their programming? Because sometimes I could imagine that maybe not even some of the professors, maybe even more towards like the liberal arts side, don't have some of these like certificates or experience in these sort of programs. So do you think you could touch on a little bit of if there's any process in place or any ideas about how to teach the professors that, or what that process, what that timeline might look like towards teaching the professor that, and then the professor implementing that into their curriculum?
Absolutely. One of the reasons that actually I came to from industry to the academia was that I thought that as a faculty member, as a professor, I would have an opportunity for a lifelong learning. So that's why each and every one of our faculty would be delighted to learn more and see how we would be able to serve our students better. We have a grant from UT system that actually provided us with exactly what you're saying, because in some of the fields, for example, my background is engineering, it probably certificates would help, but they have to be more specific, but the degree itself may do its job in terms of landing me a position. In some of the areas that may have a challenge, such perhaps in either humanities or social sciences, those are the areas that the system is actually telling us that they are supporting the embedment of these certificates. So as part of that, we're basically doing two things. Number one, the grant would pay for the students to get those certificates, such as what we discussed, Coursera or Google certificates, which are independent from the course, but they would be added onto the course. And second is that the faculty would learn how to adopt it. And part of the exercise that we are going through right now, which, as I said at the beginning, not only we want the students to be exposed to real world problem solving, but this is an opportunity for us to expose the teachers, the faculty members, to real world relevance of what we're teaching. So if I learned something to teach 30 years ago, is it still relevant this day as I teach my students? And that's part of what we are basically requiring every program once every 5 years going forward to go through that real world relevance review, which what it does is that it allows our faculty to do some soul searching to compare with similar programs at other institutions and see, are we doing the same type of things that they are doing? And are we doing the type of thing that is necessary for today's graduates? And as part of it, we also do professional development. Like we have a Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, and our faculty themselves would get certificates. So it's not just certificate for our students. The faculty would get certificate if they go through those type of training that would tell them how to teach better or how to include those certificates into the program. It should not. The intent is whether you are undergraduate or graduate, if you're taking a course as part of a package, the cost would be the same. So we're not adding cost. We're adding more value. So the tuition would be the same. There's no additional cost for certificate. Even, as I mentioned, UT System provided us with Coursera, Google certificate. We're not going to charge the students at all extra, because if the students are gaining by having those milestones, it would help us. There's no financial implications of this.
We have a question on Zoom, and it reads, how will they prepare to eliminate problems with troubleshooting? A common issue with implementing new programs and initiatives like this is that often students and staff are spending too much time troubleshooting and not enough time actually learning.
I'm not sure when they talk about troubleshooting, we're trying to basically do two things. Number one, package the courses in such a way that they would qualify as a certificate, which corresponds to a particular group of skill sets, or have an external source of credentialing, such as Google certificate or Coursera, that would be embedded as part of a course, which that means that basically the idea is that this is not going to be a significant change in the program. It would be a gradual and I want to say piece by piece incremental change of our programs. So I'm hoping that this would not be a challenge either for the students or for the faculty, but that's one of the reasons that we're going to make sure that this would be discussed. And even if we pilot some of these programs, we would learn from those piloted programs that are adopting this certificate before they expand it to other programs. So hopefully this would not be a significant issue in terms of implementation that would require troubleshooting.
Senator Minnick, you have an additional question?
Yes, sorry. I think maybe I should rephrase my question a little bit. How much time, and maybe you may have answered this and that might be in my error, but how much time is going to be spent teaching teachers how to use this and professors and staff members?
I think
are you able to answer that first?
Well, absolutely. I think the idea is that as part of the review process, let's say a particular degree program is going to go through a review process this year, and they are going to implement a certificate or micro-credentialing is part of their program, then they're going to assign certain parts of the curriculum. Just like, for example, if I'm assigned a new course to teach, then usually it takes me for a whole course, 1 semester to develop that. And as part of it, I need to also learn the new material and then implement that. So I would say at most, if the whole course needs to be overhauled, it will be probably a semester per course, per faculty member. And because we don't assign all of these to one faculty, they would be able to, in parallel, do that. So depending on what the launch time is going to be for launching these different micro-credentials, it could be that once the program goes through that review process, in the following year, within 1 semester, each new certificate could be launched.
So they wouldn't be launched at the same time. Is
No.
that what I'm getting?
Absolutely, because even, for example, let's say we bring in even a whole new program. As you know, an undergraduate program is, let's say, 120 credits. When we
Mhm.
launch a new program, we don't prepare for the 4 years of the courses at the front end. What we do
Yeah.
is that we prepare 1 year at a time. So, for example, we just launched the chemical engineering program a couple of years ago. We really had initially the faculty members learn what to teach in the junior year and teach the junior year classes, prepare for that, and then the following year was for the senior year. So we do this in a gradual manner, and it would not be all at the same time. Especially, not all programs are going to adopt this strategy perhaps at the same time.
Okay, and are you going to be introducing this to teachers before they're expected to implement that in their courses?
Absolutely. Actually, the idea is that the teachers, the faculty members that are sitting around the table in each department, in each academic unit, they are the ones that would be adopting these certificates, because they are the ones that would be implementing it, and they are the ones who would be working with the industry and with their professional advisory board that would say, well, these are the type of skill sets or certificate that we need for our graduates.
Okay, and how long does it take to get that certification?
Oh, the certification, the way it is, as I said, these are going to be different scales or size certificate at different times. So one certificate could be equal to 9 credits, which again is not going to prolong your graduation, because this is going to be embedded as part of your program. And some of those certificates could be part of a single course. So it could be as little as part of a course to as much as maybe 3 courses together would be 1 certificate.
Awesome. Okay, just a few more questions. Senator Carnes.
You kind of just answered my question, but so would these certificates be like whole new classes or a byproduct of classes?
It would be some of them could be byproduct of a class. Some of them would require a change in the in the course content. And so that's why this is not going to be a drastic change into the curriculum. And as we discussed before, no impact on the tuition you would be paying.
We have one more question on Zoom, and the question reads, sometimes a student cannot take a course from other departments due to some bindings or prerequisites. For example, many computer science students can take courses from electrical engineering department due to some bindings. Is it possible to eliminate those rules or prerequisites? The ultimate goal of taking a course from other departments is to learn something new.
I think that's a very valid point, because one of the benefits of this certificate process is going to be interdisciplinarity of learning, which is that if I am in one major, I would learn something else about another major. And actually, as you would enter the industry or the job market, would see that it is very valuable. The fact that you're not just trained in one particular discipline, but you know more about others. So one of the parts of the review process is exactly this, because we have noticed the same thing, that we are putting restrictions, sometimes valid restrictions. Because, for example, if I am a computer science student, I want to take something in electrical engineering, maybe I need to know something about physics before I have that course. So prerequisite may be required, but some of them may be traditional prerequisites that we have put in. So we are actually asking the faculty as part of the review of the program to look at those requirements and see, are all those requirements up to date and do they need to be there? And if there is any way that we can remove that, we want to make sure we do that, not at the cost to the student, because the last thing we want is the student register for the course, and because they didn't have the prerequisite, they would not be successful.
Awesome. One more question.
Hello, I was just curious because you said we can it's interdisciplinary, like you can go a different way. Like for example, in biochemistry, say I want to do something that's pharmacy. Would those different departments work together so you could have that opportunity? Like, is that something that would be department based, or like I would have to go seek that opportunity out, or how is that going to look like? Kind of
Both.
both.
So there would be some that as a student, perhaps, especially in conversation with career success coaches, you can say, well, these are the opportunities that exist. Maybe I can pursue it. But we also want to put together interdisciplinary certificates. So for example, just yesterday, I received 2 requests for 2 new certificates that are interdisciplinary. They are going to be in a house in a school of medicine, but it's going to, and both of them are graduate level, but they're going to be open to all the students, even from biology or chemistry or others that want to take those. And so, and actually, for example, in each one of those certificates, they say, take this course, or this course. And those courses are in different departments, from pharmacy to, let's say, biology, or from biochemistry to, let's say, there was another one, I think health sciences, yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming out here and taking the time out of your day to talk to us. We really
I
appreciate it.
I appreciate it. And I
Thank
look
you.
forward to having the program with everyone's input, because at the end of the day, we want to serve the students.
Awesome. Well, we would be happy to help in any way we can. All right, up next for speakers podium, we have Senior Vice President of Student Success, Ona Tolliver. She is technically all of our bosses. No, I'm kidding. But she's just here to provide us on a few updates in student success. So come on down. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. How's everybody doing? Just checking to make sure it's on. Thank you, as always, for giving me an opportunity to come and spend time with you guys this evening during your meeting. I know that you guys have a lot on your agenda, and so I appreciate that very much. What I wanted to do really was just kind of talk with you a little bit about some of the things that are on the horizon. I know that some of the members of the student success team have been in to visit with you guys, and probably are on regular rotation based upon some of the things that I'm hearing, which is really great. We're always accessible to you and always available to help visit with you about any issues that you may have. And also, we want to hear from you so that we know how best to support you. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, as the provost mentioned, it's about supporting you guys and making sure that you're successful and you have the best experiences possible. Excuse me. So, as you know, our strategic plan has been launched. It is public. We are in the process of making sure that all of the elements that we've committed to with regard to the student experience are measurable and that they're deliverable, so that you guys do continue to have those experiences. And one of the major elements of our strategic plan is student engagement. That's engagement both inside and outside of the classroom. We partner very well with the academic affairs side of the house to make sure that your experiences are great. But we do know that there are some really basic things that are necessary on the other side of the house when it comes to the student experience, and also making sure that we support you in everything that you need on campus. So a couple of things that we're working on right now, some of them you may have already heard about, are our expansion, hopefully, of our residential community. That's one of the things we've really taken a serious deep dive into as the institution continues to strive towards our enrollment numbers increasing over the course of the next few years to 15,000. that can't happen unless we have the ability to house students. So I'm very excited to see our counterparts from TJC here, because I know that oftentimes students are enrolled on both campuses. And so we really hope that you guys will look for both the on-campus residential experience, but also you'll come and join the Student Government Association when you transfer here, right? But with that in mind, we know that we have to have the infrastructure in place to support our increased enrollment. We also know that there is a need for spaces for student organizations. There's spaces for students to just exist and be. So we're looking at returning to our plan for refreshing the University Center. We had gone way down the path on that before the pandemic, and everything, of course, came to a screeching halt at that time. But it's actually probably a good thing that we held off on refreshing the University Center, because we're a different institution now. We have different expectations. You as students have different needs. But we all know that the University Center is one of those locations, much like the library, where students just like to be. And you like to exist in that space. You like to study and with your friends. You like to dine there. So we will be revisiting the University Center to make sure that we address any of our facility issues, but also that we're able to create a space where students can just belong, whether you live on campus or not. And I hope that the first step in that, it sounds like you guys are pretty happy about our decision to relocate. I'm sorry. Okay. It's like, wait a minute, like, it's just, we have to talk to each other. One of the things that we realized in this process is that student government is really key to connecting with students. And while you're in a great space and you're in a great location, you really need to be in a more prominent space in a great location. So we have allotted space on the second floor of the University Center for Student Government Association. It is that corner office as you get ready to enter the hallway leading to the Enrollment Services Center. I think you guys know where the one-stop shop is. You are front and center for where students can locate you and see you and become engaged and connected. So I hope that that space works out for you guys. We think that it's important for you to be in a prominent location where people can just walk in and find you, and where you guys can really create a space that you own yourselves. It's been a long time coming, and we know that there's a potential for us to have more space dedicated for you guys as we start to revisit some of the spaces on campus, but we hope this is a good starting place for you. So sorry if I stole your thunder, but I did
No,
want to.
that's great. I think I speak for our e-board and all future student governments and their e-boards in saying that thank you for that. It really is truly a nice space, and I really hope that we utilize it the right way. So
I think
we
so.
really appreciate that.
I'm looking forward to it. I am. I think that it'll be great for students to just come in and tell you what they think. We know that's going to happen anyway. So the other thing to share with you guys, and this is probably something Josh may be talking about too, is that we are just beginning our plans for the spring semester's homecoming. We're actually going to be meeting tomorrow to have some conversations about that. So we really want to hear from you guys. And I don't know from student government, or you're on the committee. Landry's on the committee, and so he'll expect to get some feedback from you guys. We know that that's one of our traditions, and you guys had another traditional event last night that I hear was extremely successful, so much so that you set the building on fire. That's amazing. I was like, guess what? It's so great. It's just like friction everywhere. Fire is going on. So I'm really proud of you guys so much for continuing that tradition. It is just a marvelous thing for us to stretch ourselves in a way that we normally don't think that we can, right? You have a facility that you see every day that looks a certain way, and then you tell people you got pancakes and it turns into a different animal. So congratulations to you guys for all of your hard work on that. And we're really delighted for you guys to continue those traditions. So look forward to more details about homecoming. What I'm going to need your input on is two things. And I know there's probably some other things you guys want to talk about as well, but we are in the process right now of trying to relocate some of the offices that are in the University Center. We are working towards, hopefully, with all the right approvals in place, moving our student accessibility office over to the library. It's the provost's idea to create a location where students can go and have all the information and the connections that they need to support their learning environment. And relocating that office is at the top of our list. So it is a priority that we're working on right now. That also gives us a chance, as we're starting to re-envision the University Center and how we make it available and accessible to our students. But with that, what I really want to hear from you guys is that we're in the process of finalizing our next steps, should you say, for our bookstore, whatever the next iteration of our bookstore looks like. So I'm curious to hear from you guys and what it is that you think you need from a bookstore, and what have you maybe seen in other campuses that works. We're going to start down that path pretty soon and looking at what the design, the physical space looks like, what you need as far as content is concerned, what kind of things you want to see in a bookstore. I would really love to hear from you guys what your initial thoughts are, because we've long since moved away from the Scantrons. You know, you'd pop in and pick up a blue book. I'm aging myself. You pick up a Scantron, something that you need to take class. Now it's all virtual, right? It's all digital. So you want swag. We know that. So what other kind of things would you guys like to see in a future bookstore? Yeah. Yes, sir.
So I know there's that second floor space with all the books and everything. I've never personally gone in there and purchased a book directly right there, and I don't know if anyone else has as well. And so I think since everything is more digital, you can go in and pick it up from, I believe it's behind one of those sections where you get like the graduation stuff. And so I think that space could be better utilized for other things here on campus. Not sure what. It's really up to other people above me. But I think that's kind of dated and it can be fixed.
Thank you, Robert. That is a great point. Absolutely. We agree with you. I think, how many of you guys purchase your books on Amazon? It's okay. No shame. Hold them high. It's all right. We do believe that is exactly what's happening. And so I think as we're re-envisioning it, we know that, maybe you want to utilize that space for something else. We want to put something else in there that would be appealing and attractive to students as new and more modern. So that's a really excellent point. Thank you. It's a great size space. You're absolutely right. Yes, sir. Okay. I'm ready.
Hear me out. Maybe like a cafe or something in there. That'd be kind of cool. Like a study space cafe kind of area. I feel like that'd be kind of pretty well received. So
kind of like Starbucks, right?
Kind of.
Okay. Not quite Starbucks.
I mean, yeah, kind of
Starbucks-esque.
Yeah, kind of like Starbucks.
Okay. You have tables and places like that you can come and hang out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Yeah, great. So as you guys kind of contemplate that, we'll be putting together a group to talk about what the next iteration of the bookstore should look like. We also know that one of the things that's really important to any university union, any student center, is that you have food that you're interested in. So we are currently having conversations about campus vending. And what vending looks like. I don't know how many of you guys have flown recently. When you go to the airport, you walk up to a kiosk that's probably, 5x2, and there's somebody sitting on a stool, right? It just doesn't look the same, and you can buy everything that you could possibly want, from souvenirs to snacks. So we've been having conversations about specifically for the Longview campus. We know that is an issue, and it's been an ongoing concern for our students on the Longview campus is food service. We understand that right across the road are some of the best restaurants, but sometimes students don't really have time to break away and go over and have a meal and pick something up. They just want to grab something that's nutritious and quick. And so our our new Chief Operating Officer, Dwayne Morris. I think you guys may have met him. I'm not sure.
I have.
Okay,
He's
you've met him?
awesome. Yeah.
Okay, great. He and I are going to be traveling to the Longview campus next week to have a conversation with our folks that provide vending there. And we've also started having conversations here with the company that provides the vending for the main campus. And so we know that you guys are ready to see some things that are different. I'm always pushing for the smoothies, but I don't know how many people like smoothies. I just say that you like smoothies because I want smoothies. So something nutritious, right? Quick, that you guys can get this feeling. So we'll be looking for input on that as well as we move forward. We have a committee that is a part of our agreement with Sodexo for students to give feedback. And I think, Landry, you participated last time. We'll be doing that again. I'm not sure who else on student government. I think we had somebody else that joined us. Great, thank you. So we'll continue those conversations as well to make sure that we are listening and paying attention to what it is that we need on all of our campuses, from Longview and Palestine, as well as what we provide to our students in Houston, which we know that the dynamic is a little bit different. So those are a couple of things that we're working on that we'll definitely need to have your input on as well. I want to make sure I'm attentive to our folks that are great. Love to see swag. Wonderful. Very good. Absolutely. We agree with you. More healthy options. We'll make sure that we pass that information along. And as we're having conversations about our other remote students and campuses, we'll be exploring that as well. And then finally, just to say to you guys that, as the provost mentioned, we are accessible and available to you at any time. You can invite us to come at any point. My office is located on the 3rd floor behind the ballroom. So if you need to see me, you see me walking through the University Center or out on campus someplace, feel free to stop in and say hello. You can speak with your advisor, you talk to Landry, any of the executive board members, or just pop in and let me know, hey, I have an idea, or there's something that I'd love to see. So what can I do for you guys? What else do you need? Do you feel is missing from your experience? And how can we help you enhance your experience to make sure that you're getting all that you need?
This is kind of tangent, but one of the suggestions was pit halal food for Muslim students.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. That is something we can pass along, and hopefully we should be able to provide some support there. We also, Cynthia Martinez is our executive director for our Office of International Programs, has created a space for meditation in our Office of International Programs. So for any students that you guys encounter that are looking for a quiet space to meditate, to pray, to just have some quiet downtime, do know that we do have space designated for that. But thank you for that suggestion.
Any questions, concerns? Senator Carnes?
You talked about it towards the beginning. When's a realistic timeline of us getting more housing for students?
Oh man, I tell you, so today, tomorrow would be excellent. So what I will say to you guys is that one of the things that I find most challenging in these times is that our students that are upperclassmen, that are sophomores and juniors, and our graduate students all want to be on campus just as much as our freshman students and our sophomore students. And so we have prioritized really our incoming students who are freshmen, and we're going to be paying specific attention to our transfer students because research has shown us that students who live on campus are more successful because they have access to resources, study groups. They have a group of people who really are dedicated to making sure that the students have what they need and that they're paying attention to their well-being and safety. So it's a priority for us. And if we could build them tomorrow, we would build them. We do have to go through a process to make sure that we are allocating space appropriately, that we can afford to actually build the new facilities. And then we have to work with UT System to make sure that we are following all the rules and guidelines that are set for us for UT System. All of those things have been championed by Dr. Calhoun, the president of the university. And I think it's a clear understanding that we have to go in that direction. So there's a process, much like what we do with our bookstore. We have to have an RFP. So basically it's an opportunity for people to bid, to come out and do that. And then the process from there flows pretty quickly based upon availability of resources, such as equipment and the materials that are necessary to build. So I'd have to say my own reality check is that we're at least 2 to 3 years out from actually building a new facility. But do know that we are constantly working to find resolutions to house our students on campus, which include everything, not ideal. In some cases, I actually like staying in hotels, but if you had to stay in a hotel for a short period of time while we allow some movement to happen on campus, students are able to move on campus. And we've been able to do that this semester to get all of our students out of the off-campus location. It's very common. One of my colleagues at a university that has 40,000 students sent a message out this morning, basically addressing that same question about what are we doing to help house students when they probably have 20,000 students that live on campus across maybe about 14 facilities. So it is a great problem to have, unless you're the student who is not staying on campus. So tomorrow would not be soon enough.
Very briefly earlier about plans further for the University Center, and we probably all saw that last night that we are outgrowing the University Center from what we got so far. So can you speak in any way to kind of what the plans are going forward with the University Center?
Sure, I can and I can't. The answer is that we do need to look at revamping the space to better utilize the space. And I can't because I'm hoping you guys will help us figure out what that needs to look like, right? Because I think the vision that we had before is we're a different organization now, we're a different university. Our student body is different. Your needs are slightly different than they were a few years ago, 3 years ago. And so I'd say that, you know, we want to be responsive to the growth of the institution. One of the things that comes to mind is that as we're looking at expanding housing, we will absolutely need to add another on-campus dining facility. So while we have dining in the University Center, and that's great, it's central, and it's also accessible by most of our residence halls. If you're a student that lives in Victory Village, that's a little far away to come to dinner and breakfast every time, don't you think? So we're also really exploring the opportunity to have a second dining facility. It'll serve two purposes. One, it'll create another centralized location for campus dining. And then, as you guys know, that we're continuing to grow our on-campus summer camps. And so as we start to have students that are on children that are on campus, we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs without overwhelming one facility, right? So all of those are in the works. So yes, we kind of know what we need, but we also know that we want to hear from you guys and figure out what it is that really is important to you as we move forward. Yeah, me too.
Any other questions? Yes. Senator Niet.
So as you said about Victory Village, it is a little bit of a walk. I personally live in University Pines, and that is also a little bit of a walk for someone who hasn't lived on this big of a campus before. Is there any possibility that a conversation could be started about on-campus transportation to make sure that students are able to get to their classes and to centralized university centers?
I'll answer that question as long as it doesn't lead to a parking question following this comment. So the short answer is yes, right? We are always exploring how best to help our students get to campus safely and quickly. And we do know that a lot of students do try to drive over and find parking spaces. I'm in charge of the parking appeals committee, so I know what happens when y'all drive on campus. But the answer is yes. We're always exploring that. It is going to require that we look at resources and how we dedicate those resources to making sure that we have an on-campus system that runs us back and forth. One of the things runs students back and forth between those facilities. One of the things that you guys may or may not be aware of is that you can ride the City of Tyler Transit for. He's been doing that for a number of years. All you have to do is show your student ID. And they should be picking up in locations that are familiar to you. So that helps you get around the city. But your question really has to do with the distance between Victory Village and main campus. Sidewalk hopefully will help with that. I expect to see bicycles and longboards on that. And it will be well lit, and we'll have go up. That'll make it a little bit better for you to be able to walk to campus back and forth if you want to access it. But if you need to get there quickly, absolutely exploring some type of a transportation system is the way to go. Many college campuses have those, right? They have buses that run around the campus, and they transport people from parking lots to other locations on campus. So we are absolutely open to that discussion.
We have a question on Zoom from Senator Mattern.
Of course.
Hello. I don't know if it would be much cheaper because I've thought about this and I feel like there's definitely probably like higher authorities thought about this. What if we bought another like housing facility? Like the Foundry's right there. Would they ever sell to y'all? And that way y'all don't have to completely restart from nothing or what?
Okay.
I feel like that would be quicker too. I just don't know if that's even possible to even like, or if it's way too expensive.
Sure. So we always explore what available resources and options we have. We always look at the properties that are close to us to see if that works. We acquired the Victory Village property similarly along with Liberty Landing. Those were both properties that were privately owned or owned by corporations that the university invested in. So I'd have to say our challenge at this point is creating a diverse enough portfolio of housing facilities that are not just apartment style for students who want to have better connected. How many of you guys are still in Ornelas Hall? Anybody still? Okay, so we got our Ornelas Hall. So I would think you guys could probably speak to a different type of experience than someone who lives in an apartment, right? You have a wing of people that you interact with and engage with, and we can do things like our living learning communities. They work really well in a different style of housing facility. So what we're wanting to do is diversify our portfolio when it comes to the type of residential communities that we have. And we think building will give us a chance to create that environment. Right now, we have 3 properties, not including University Pines, that are owned by the university that are all apartment style. Patriot Village, University Pines, and Liberty Landing are all the same type of facility. So the only outlier that we have is what does the next iteration of a more pseudo-traditional residence hall look like? It might not look like O Hall, but it also might be similar to O Hall. Does that help?
Yes, sir. That makes sense. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Thanks for the question.
Hello, I was just curious about the physical books because some departments they sell books that are like by UT Tyler or like faculty will sell. Will those no longer be available for people to buy? Because I know some people like to buy the books. And I know it's fine to buy it online, but what if it's owned by the department or that person? Will we still be able to purchase them or how will
Point.
that work?
What I'll do is make a note. You're talking about our transition of the bookstore and looking,
Yes.
exploring what that might look like. Some campuses I mentioned earlier have spirit shops where they just have swag and they have some other items like that. What you're interested in is the retail or the faculty books. Let me make a note of that and see how we can incorporate that into what the next iteration. That's the kind of feedback that we really want to hear from you guys, is what's important and a value so that we don't lose it.
Yeah, I just know because some people not only are they like faculty owned, but some people have like a scholarship that buys the book. So they only expect to get it from the bookstore. And so if that bookstore goes away, I understand they can probably do it online. They probably have some access to technology, whether it's in the library or their personal usage. I just wanted to make sure that they could somehow, if they needed to get the books to the university, even if it's online, they could order and then maybe pick up at the bookstore or have it at the
Absolutely.
library, because maybe that might work if you, because I feel like using the space for something more university where like their student engagement, I feel like that would work better for where the university is going. But I feel like they still need that aspect of like physical, like getting the supplies for school, all that different stuff.
Thank you. That's a
Of
good point. I'm
course.
so glad you brought that up because our desire is not to eliminate the access for the books, but perhaps relocate temporarily to the time when you actually need to pick your books up. They would always be available anytime during the semester. Let's say you wait until October to pick up your book because your faculty member said, we're not tackling that chapter 1 until we get to the 3rd week of class. And you're like, okay, great, I'll just wait and pick my books up later. We want to make sure that you guys have a place to do that. We're thinking of it more of a like a distribution point, right?
Okay, more like a vendor kind of
absolutely.
thing. Okay, I was just making sure because I
Yes,
just know
ma'am.
that it would just cause some problems.
Great point. We'll make sure to
course.
communicate that going forward.
Thank you so much.
Great question.
All right.
Okay.
I think that's it. Thank you so much again for coming and speaking and for updating us all. All right. Well, that was a great lineup right there. Let's go ahead and move right along to officer reports. I don't have a whole lot to report other than we just got done with midnight breakfast, so that was the bulk of everything as far as events wise goes. And I'm sure Robert will talk about this a little bit. We do have the midterm election watch party coming up, so I'll let him touch on that a little bit more. But I'm planning on meeting again with Chief Business Officer Dwayne Morris in the coming weeks, and then I'm also going to be going to UT SAC on November 11th through the 12th, where we still plan on to continue inventorying different practices and different, I guess, programming systems that they have in place for the various topics we're going over, especially whenever we're talking about employee or student employee minimum wage, transparency with billing, and a variety of other departmental student facing subjects. So yeah, I think that's it for me. We'll go ahead, Vice President Bennett.
So I just want to kind of get a feel of how many people y'all think we had. How many people do y'all think we had at midnight breakfast last night? 800 something, 900 something, 700 something. Well, we had from those that signed in, we had 929 people attend midnight breakfast last night. It is the largest midnight breakfast we have ever had, I believe, and it is one of the largest events we have held here on campus. And so it was a really great thing to have all y'all there. Thank you very much for helping not only help out with the event but also attend as well. And it was a great success. Everyone loved it. Even though we had that little exciting thing happen about halfway through where we had to bring people down from the third floor to the second and first. But it was really great. All y'all kept your heads on straight. We got everyone out, and it all went well. And I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you once again.
So yes, midnight breakfast is yesterday, and I'm recovering, as I'm sure all of you all are, in the best way possible. Some things I've been working on are just posting all of the videos and the pictures, and I made a reel, so be on the lookout for that. That will be posted in the next couple days. And then any photos or videos you have, just share them to the photo circle because there'll always be a use for them.
Treasurer Luna.
Hello, everyone. So a little update from last week's announcement. It was the Muslim Student Association had requested funding, but they had missed last week's hearing. So it would have been yesterday, but their event is today. So I emailed them and I was like, hey, I don't think we'll be able to do it. Gave them some options with the reimbursement. Never got an email back. So I don't know how their event went. Maybe I'll reach out and ask. But this week we only met with the Rolling Patriots Guild. They're a tabletop board game group here on campus. And they requested about $130 for disposable tablecloths and food items for their casino bingo game night event that they have usually. That's annually. So I'm looking forward to seeing their updated itemized list because they have some items through Walmart, but we asked them if they could get it on Amazon. So that's about it, really.
Awesome. And then Chief of Staff Peters is not here, but we do have a paper coming up because we are in the same class. So I'm sure he's struggling with that as I am. Committee reports. We'll go ahead and start with events. I'm sure there's maybe something to report. If there's not anything to report, that's completely fine.
Yeah. Besides talking about getting stuff together for midnight breakfast, the only thing is the election watch party, which is November 8th. It's in the STE 127. So we'll just watch the election results as they come in. We'll have more details when it's a little bit, probably next meeting. But other than that, that's it.
Awesome. Communications Committee. Microphone pass.
So yeah, we just basically talked about the posts that I posted today with all of the organizations that tabled. I went around and took pictures of all the tables, and I really just wanted to, give them a little shout out. Thanks so much for doing that. All the events and the gear and the prizes they had was all really, really cool. So we were really grateful for that. And then another thing that we were trying to figure out was how to do like a seamless scrolling Instagram post. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, like not having multiple pictures, but where it's like a collage and it just kind of keeps going. So if anyone knows how to do that, please teach me. So that's about it. Okay. And then, yeah, the other thing was for midnight breakfast, the shirts went by so fast. Everyone was going a little bit crazy over that. So that was pretty cool and also kind of scary. So that's all.
Might have a smoke smell to him, but SGAC.
So I basically said what SJC did during my office report. Though I did get the receipt or the invoice thing from Josh earlier of how much we spent.
You see that, Chloe? Install the scroll app. Nice. Thank you, Senator Minnick, for the valuable information. All right. Rules Committee. We actually don't have anybody here from Rules Committee, but since I know what they're doing, I will talk about it. Basically, they've been tasked with just working on getting information and finding all the relevant information possible so that we can make the best sort of decision when deciding what day to put into the Constitution for when student government's going to meet at what time in perpetuity. So we've already gotten information from the registrar's office and they send us a lot of it that I think will help. And then on November 10th, we'll talk about it more at length. So that's 2 weeks away, I believe. I think. But yeah, Environmental Sustainability Committee. Awesome. Perfect. Oh. She said nothing new, but she might repeat it.
At our first meeting, and we're just going over ideas right now. So
Awesome. All right. GSA, nothing to report there. We'll go ahead and move on to student voice reports, starting with the College of Engineering. Is there anything to report from the College of Engineering senators?
Yes, basically the College of Engineering, they used to publish a magazine, basically it's on a regular interval basis, but for a long time, it's not getting published. So student may not get the exciting news, like what is happening inside the College of Engineering. Like, let's say some student has a great achievement, so other student may not be aware of. So it's better to get something, a newsletter. I think it should be quarterly or maybe some regular on the regular interval.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's great. I would suggest reaching out maybe first to the Dean of College of Engineering, maybe to see if he might have any information on who to contact regarding posting a newsletter or a magazine in the College of Engineering. And then we'll go from there. Anything else to report for the College of Engineering?
So yeah.
Go ahead, JJ.
So recently, this past Saturday, we had the College of Engineering hosted a major event. I don't know if y'all heard about it. It was called the Ratliff Relays. Yeah, that was very successful. It was at first, not gonna lie, I didn't think it was gonna be like really like popular, but seeing all the people turn out was really exciting to see, like people that were actually interested in like College of Engineering, potential students that wanted to, join, transfer, and just seeing, the parents and everyone come out and like the events we had going on was really good. Yeah, it was like over 500 people, I think, were there. It was a good turnout, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, that's awesome. Glad to hear that. Anything else to report? Go ahead, Jorian.
All right. So the other senator for College of Engineering is Senator Tran. As I understand it, she's having major issues with the Houston Engineering Center Wi-Fi. So I'm going to step in for her here. We work really closely together. I'm the senator for the Houston campus. So kind of some updates about the Houston Engineering Center. We recently just had a career fair down here this past week. It was very fun. We had a lot of good companies come out and talk to students. We also had lots of visitors from Maine this week, which is always a pleasure. The Dean of the College of Engineering was down here, Dr. Kapiros, as well as the Department Chair for Civil Engineering, Dr. McGinnis, and the Department Chair for Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Bearcat, are all down here this week visiting with students. They have audiences with students on Friday for Dr. McGinnis and Dr. Capiro. So students have an opportunity to speak with their administration and their chairs and faculty. Additionally, the Ratliff Relays for Houston campus and Houston Engineering Center are kind of happening this weekend, so Saturday. So we have our fingers crossed we'll have good weather for that, and we're looking forward to having the same sort of outcomes that Maine has had. So lots of good things happening. Lastly, the Houston Senators are still working in tandem with the College of Engineering to get some resolutions about the WHI, or the West Houston Institute Makerspace for Houston Engineering Centers that's provided by HCC. That avenue is still being run down. Additionally, the foundation of a student laboratory through some of the facilities that we were able to reallocate working with Dr. Kapiros is still moving forward. So there's lots of good things happening there. We're mainly looking at how to reallocate that space, getting rid of some of the Houston Community College furniture that's in that space. So yes, lots of good things happening for engineering students down in Houston. And Lisa sends her apologies. She's scrambling to try to get on the call. So.
All right, thank you. Well, we're glad to hear that reallocation is going well. All right, we'll go ahead and move right on to College of Arts and Sciences. Is there anything to report from the College of Arts and Sciences? Maggie? Yes, go ahead.
I don't think there's anything to report.
Okay. Thank you.
So basically today we had our CAS advising like meeting today, and we had a bunch of freshmen come, and like all like grades came. And so they got some advising done already since it's about to open on November 1st for CAS, which was really good. We also just ACS hosted, but for chemistry majors, they had their ACS chemistry week, which was really successful last week. We did like different ice cream, different like donation stuff. That was really good. So to see different majors and everyone come out was really good. Also with it's in Ratliff, but it's a part of the College of Arts of Sciences. Something that I've noticed and have had people brought up to me is the water bottle fountains. They've had some that are in there, but they don't work, or there's some on some floors that don't work. And then as well with that, the bathrooms with the handicap, some of them don't open at all. And so I've noticed some people who can't use the facilities because the doors will not open. So
Okay.
I'll probably have to talk to the department this week.
Send me
and
an
figure it out.
email with that information, and I will send that over to the director of facilities, and hopefully they will get that worked out pretty
Okay.
fast.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Ashlyn.
I was gonna ask Maggie a question. I guess anybody that's in College of Arts and Sciences, like the STEM majors, a lot of people had their midterms like a week or two ago, and because we were talking about this in lab today, a lot of us had ours this week, and I don't know if that's like specific to us. Like, I don't know if there's a set schedule for midterms or anything. I was gonna ask if like she had midterms this week too.
Yes, I did. I just had my last midterm this week. I just had it on Tuesday. Yeah, I think my midterms were they were spread over the course of like 3 weeks, like these last 3 weeks. So there's not really a set
Okay.
schedule, but that's just kind of how it works for for biochemistry, I guess specifically. But I've noticed it with the STEM majors, it's kind of more in the middle, like a couple weeks before Thanksgiving.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next up is Health Science Center.
Okay,
Is
we
there
have
anything
one-
to report?
we have one more.
Oh, you have one more thing. Sorry. Or Senator O has one more thing.
Yes, I'm sorry. So one of the biggest thing I think for a lot of freshmen that are like science majors and stuff is like advising, especially picking out your spring semester classes. The advisors are a little too busy, and it seems like advising is a little like after the open date for registering for classes, and so I don't know if like there's something being worked out for that, but a lot of people are just really concerned that they're not going to be able to register for classes on time, especially the ones that they want to, and it seems kind of like different for other colleges.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Basically, I know some of the advisors like you have to set up appointments. They can, but if not, you can go ahead and go through and sign up. If you don't have the hold on there, you can go ahead and like sign up for classes and go ahead and put it on there. But other than that, I'm not really sure. That might be something the SAC or the advising committee might have to deal with.
Yeah, I would bring that up to the advising committee whenever they meet next.
Bring it up to the CAS.
Yeah. All right. Health Science Center.
Landry, I'm so sorry.
Oh, is there another? Okay, I'm so sorry. There's
So
another
sorry.
thing.
I was just going to say the Academic Success Center is advising students to put things within their shopping cart and then email your advisor, and then your advisor will take your hold off so you can enroll in your courses. Just what we're telling students to do because we know that advising is filling up really fast. So yeah.
All right. Awesome. Is there anything else? Okay.
That is it. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Health Science Center. Is there anything to report from the Health Science Center?
Hey, it's Caitlin. Nothing to report.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing to report.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Seeing that we don't have anything for old business, I entertain a motion to open a discussion on midnight breakfast. Carried by Senator Vargas, seconded by Senator Carnes. Go for it.
So, midnight breakfast. I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly. Okay, so other than the freak stuff that happened last night having to do with us having to evacuate and the elevator, what else do we have?
The only big thing I have is like the people that were there early and on time that didn't get tickets and didn't get a shirt and all that stuff. That was a big bummer for me. Just people saying that, and I'm like, oh, I can't do anything about it. But that's the only thing.
Yeah, we had lines super long. There was the one there in the front. It basically ran all the way to the alumni house. It was insane.
So for the people who go early to table for their organization, what exactly what were they told to do in regards to setup and attending the event and stuff like that?
So they were sent an email to all the people that had originally sent in requests and that they would be the point of contact. They were told to be there at 9 o'clock there in the student engagement office. We would check them in and it was pretty much going to be a free for all for tables anyway. To allow them to kind of figure out the best place for them to be with their activities. And I guess some of them didn't get the email, and we should have probably sent more, I guess.
So I will say one thing that I thought was pretty surprising was that Sodexo actually stepped up their game for once. That was pretty interesting. The bacon actually tasted like bacon, so we're gonna roll with that. Uh, oops, dropped my phone. But yeah, ignore that. So, but I mean, it was pretty cool to see, people were pretty ravenous about the shirts too. So that's another bonus.
I will make I think one important suggestion. Oh, come to you. Next year, I do think that we should maybe consider not having a line down in the Met, but instead have the line enter in through the breezeway and then down Stewart Hall, and then have tables at those two entrances. So that way people aren't just kind of backing up the line up the stairs and then being within our, can just sneak out and then go get the shirts immediately or go get food immediately. I think it'd be a lot more controlled that way. But
I thought of that too early on, but I didn't know with the one-stop shop being there and the computers there on the side, I don't know how they would think and all the different furniture there as well with people just waiting around for 2 hours. I don't know.
Oh, I think that'd be great if there's furniture there. They'd want to.
Oh yeah, but I didn't know how the departments individually would feel about us using.
I don't think they'd care. They won't be there. But
I just want to make a comment that, okay, because I was working in the Met, right, with fellow senators. Yeah, okay, like it sucked, like because I was wearing my shark costume, so it got like hot like really quick. But despite that, I just want to say that it was like really nice to see how many people showed up and like how happy they were and like just it was nice to see people interacting with other people and I was just like, oh, this is sweet. And some of them complimented my shark costume, so like it made me happy.
go ahead.
So I know we ran out of like the pancakes and waffles pretty early. And there's a lot of students who don't eat pork. So I believe that there should have been an option instead of having 2 pork options for them.
So one of the things that we are considering for next midnight breakfast, and we're going ahead and starting conversations on this very soon, is we're going to try and get some corporate companies to perhaps sponsor the event. And there's a variety of benefits for that. Quality of food, variety of food. And then also if they're sponsoring it, we're not paying for it, which helps our budget out immensely. So the two that I have in mind right now, and this is not set in stone, is Chick-fil-A and Whataburger. But that is something that we are considering. And of course, we might still have some catering from Sodexo, but again, that's all kind of up in the air. So just a few more comments and then.
So it kind of seemed like the ticket systems kind of doesn't really work with accounting for attendance and making sure people check in. I mentioned this to Josh yet last night. How would you all feel about like giving out wristbands when people check in, and so the way they have to have it to participate, just the way you make sure they have to go check in to get one?
So in terms of wristbands, I know that we've done that. We did that before, correct? And so pretty much what would happen is that there in the beginning, we would have people coming in. We want to get them the line going as quick as possible. And what we would have is that we would have a ton of people they would get the wristband, they would stand right there, put it on, and they would just be holding up the line and the problem would just get worse. I love the idea of wristbands, but there in the beginning, it probably wouldn't work too good.
Yeah, I
the ticket thing was kind of confusing for some people because they're like, oh, I've already signed in, whatever. And then they kept making them get more tickets. Like if someone went, like when they went to go sit outside and they'd come in to get more drinks, the girl would be like, you need another ticket. And so they just keep coming and grabbing more tickets because like she, even though they're just getting like a refill on their drink. And I was like, okay. It was weird and confusing. And so we just like, I don't know.
We'll have that fixed next time. Any other? All right.
Landry, can I go?
Go ahead.
There were a lot of complaints about the shirts because we ran out so quick. Can we do like a senator project to give more money to get more shirts?
Okay, so that would
because I know that they're expensive, but there were so many people that like didn't get one that were really upset. And I know we can't order like 900 shirts, but I feel like we could try and get more.
So that process would simply be Beverly presenting to the Senate a reallocation of the budget and then us approving that budget for the reallocation of t-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we could do that. Like, would that be for next semester though?
Yes, it would be for next semester. And they can go ahead and work on a president and SGAC if y'all don't have any meetings or anything like that, y'all can work on that.
Okay, thank you.
Gonna read. Yes, Jorian, I think, well, we did do a QR code and sometimes it wouldn't load. I think one of the things that we might try and do next year for when we're entering into, and it might be up and running, but is scanning in the same way that you scan your phone or your card to log attendance instead of doing the QR codes. But
So I know during cleanup, we had a little trouble with like the overflowing trash cans and everything. So I was kind of hoping probably like next semester we could have more trash cans around so we're not like dealing with the overflow and everything.
yes, there's few developments in that area, but we won't know anything for sure on that until probably next semester. So yeah, go ahead.
In general, I just want to say that it was really good. I think a lot of freshmen really liked it because I think a lot of the bigger schools are having their homecoming or had their homecoming like last week or this week. And so this is like a really big thing that happened that a lot of people liked a lot.
Yeah, awesome. One more comment, Senator or Treasurer Luna.
I have 3 words.
Been pushing for this for a while, haven't you? We can look into it.
In the Met.
All right. Well, if nothing else, I entertain a motion to close discussion on post-midnight breakfast. Carried by Senator Vargas, seconded by Senator Everybody. All right. We all know him. We all love him. Advisor comments.
I did blank out. All right. So I think y'all asked a lot of great questions for both our speakers podium today. There's a lot of exciting things going on both sides, academic affairs and student success. And so I think it's important to take them up on their offer when y'all do have questions or concerns about the direction of the institution and where we are going. They are always more than welcome to come present. I know Landry right now is working on scheduling Dr. Calhoun for the start of the spring semester. And so that is also another great opportunity to ask questions at the president level on what is happening across all 5 of our campuses. And so I thought y'all asked a lot of great questions. I do want to reinforce Ona's message today. You know, there is a lot of moving pieces that are taking place. She really does value, we all do value student feedback. And so as we get ready to start on these projects, we really want to hear from you and not just on the main campus, but all of our campuses on what is the need and what do you want to see as we get ready to redesign some of our spaces or develop new spaces. She got to spill the beans on the office move. This is something that we have talked about since I've been here since 2015. We have always talked about student government needs their own space, and to kind of break away from the identity of student engagement, because people see student government as part of student engagement. but we want y'all to have y'all's own identity. And so for y'all to have y'all's own space now is very exciting. Now, with that space, there is going to have to be some budget allocations. And so I've already communicated with Beverly on some of those. And so as your budget authority, I have signed off on some of those expenses. And Beverly is going to update the Senate towards the end of the semester on the end of semester spending accounts as we get ready for the spring semester budget. So overall, it's, our goal is to make sure that that space is inviting and that, it's going to be visible. My expectation, the blinds will remain open at all times, and students are going to be encouraged to come in and to voice it or any questions or concerns that y'all might have. SGAC, I do want, I've talked with Beverly about this already, but we need to start getting back to more of the 2-week rule a little bit. We've had a lot of last minute requests from student groups, and it is, it's Patriot Day. So there's a lot of activities going on, and we are a little bit short staffed at the moment. And so as we get these last minute requests, it is very hard to process those requests on behalf of those student groups. And so I want to make sure that that committee is encouraging that we uphold the guidelines on that. On events, if you do have any additional feedback regarding midnight breakfast or how we can implement similar programming on our distance campuses, make sure to email that to Robert. And so that way the events committee can take a deeper dive into that. Some of the major issues, such as the check-in, we're working on it. It's not just midnight breakfast, but a lot of major events. We're still having some check-in challenges. Some QR codes not fully working, students giving us the wrong ID, so forth. So hopefully the actual manual, the card swipe feature will be back up and running soon. Let's bring the board. Not this semester. We are looking to schedule that for the spring semester. We're going to probably make that a spring trip. I do want to reinforce what I said last night to y'all. Kudos to y'all for recognizing the situation, quickly reporting it, and making sure that we kept not only the event safe, but our students safe. And so that was kudos to all of y'all who were involved in that situation. And I'm glad no one was hurt. I'm glad event was successful. So I'm very proud of y'all. Keep up the good work. And we're halfway through Patriot Days. And so Global Quiz Night still going on. And then tomorrow, there will be a few events in the University Center during the day. And then Saturday's
All right, thank you. Just a couple quick announcements. It's not listed on there, and I'm going to kind of go out of order, but student region applications, I've said it multiple times, I'm going to keep saying it again, as well as the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. Please apply. Like I said, just please apply. UT Tyler has never had a student regent or a student on the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, but I believe that we all have the best candidates, so please apply. The deadline is November 20th. Yes, and if you go on our website, it will be on the student government website, and so you can find all the details there. There's also a variety of tools that you can use, such as like a mock interview session, and just you have to request it. But yeah, TJC Student Senate, welcome. Thank y'all for coming. We appreciate it. Meeting went a little bit longer than we expected to, so we apologize for that. But we really appreciate y'all coming. I'm hoping a few of y'all will go to BJ's with us afterwards. I'm starving, so I'm about to go get those steak nachos. But we would be happy to hang out with y'all, and we would love to come to one of y'all's meetings sometimes, if or not. We don't have to, either way. But if y'all ever feel like it, please invite us. Y'all are more than welcome to come to our meetings too. This is not our full Senate. Like we said earlier, we have global quiz night going on and a few other events. So it's kind of a busy week. We usually have at least, I think, 13 more, 14 more senators in here. So yeah. And like I said, this is open to the public too. So y'all are more than welcome to come. And then also I hope that if you transfer over here, you join student government, but it's a shameless plug. But all right. Talons, yes. Swoop, swoop. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Senator of the week. Senator McAdams. Congrats. Senator McAdams was nominated for her initiative, especially with the CAP student program and just getting CAP students to help connect with each other, and just for being an overall stellar senator. She's always willing to go and do stuff. And so it's been fantastic and she's awesome. So congratulations. All right. It's everybody's favorite time of the meeting. All in favor of adjourning this meeting, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji, including the TJC Student Senate. All opposed, please raise your hand or do a heartbreak emoji. Any abstentions? Seeing none. All right. Bye, Zoom. Thank you all.
Thanks all.